So the flip sculpture, you go in. The first one goes in. You make a repetitive movement and sound. Then the second one joins in. The first one continues doing the sound. The second one starts doing the movement and the sound. Third, fourth, fifth. If everybody's in, the first one can stop. Then as soon as the first one has stopped, the second one can see that. He stops as well, or she stops as well. Third, fourth, fifth, etc. Then in the end, there's one sculpture that is frozen. Then it's a moment to look at the teller and finished. The transformation, it's very similar, but you go in. The first one goes into a move in an image, frozen image. The second one joins in. Everybody goes in, and it's one big frozen image. As soon as everybody is in, the first one can start, the second one can start, the third, the fourth, the fifth. At a certain moment, because it's a transformation, finally you will go to a new sculpture, to a new still image. So it's important most of the time it's with a story who has a transformation in it. So basically you go for that second part of the story, that transformation part. But it's important, like I said, to also be aware of what's happening around and let you be influenced by what the other people are doing, and part of the transformation is also playing with that, basically. The three voices, so in general, more than three people are players. So it's actually the first three who have an idea, who have an impulse that will be playing. The other one, as soon as the third one is there, they go sit down. So the first one comes, he comes to the left, and he makes, without no body movement, that's for sure, and with limited facial expression, he starts to do a sound, a word, a little phrase maybe, repetitively. When he feels the second one person is coming up, he does it 3 more times, what his sentence or his word sound. He stops, then the second person does it. As soon as the second person feels the third person is there, again, 3 more times. The second person stops, third person does it a couple of times. Then he stops as well. Then it's for 2 seconds, there's a silence. Everybody does his sound 3 more times, again for himself, his own sound or her own sound. And then, again, silence for 2 seconds, and then you can pick any sound word that you hear, and you choose one. So basically A, B, C. The result can be B, B, C. You can also pick your own sound if you think it's very important to the story or it's important to still be there. The dialogue, more or less the same thing, only you step into a V. So the first person goes here, second person goes to this part of the V, third person go there. Again, you're pretty still with your body, you don't move with your body, and limited facial expression. You can use sound, words, or short sentence. With this form, it's important that at least one is a sound, or that it's not 3 sentences, not 3 words. It makes it easier for the second part, where these 3 things go in dialogue with each other. That's why the name dialogue. So again, the same is the first one gets in. As soon as he feels the second one is there, 3 more times. Third one comes in, so the second one does it 3 more times, the third one. Then again, moment of silence. You repeat it 3 times your own, and after the third time, the improvisation of the dialogue can begin. So you don't have to, the 4th time shouldn't be that, can be with some people still his own thing, but with some people it will start changing already. So there's a dialogue, and like I said, in general, the rhythm goes like creativity, we're stuck, oh, some new things pop up. So try to push through that moment where you experience that a bit. The pairs, which is one of the more complex forms purely with the form itself. So it's about 2 emotions that are in contrast with each other in one story. An internal dilemma, for example, or 2 dominant emotions that are there in a story. Like I said, the conductor will summarize, rephrase the story, and it will be clear what's the two. The first one that he mentions becomes also the first one in the pairs. Second one that she mentions becomes the second one in the pairs. When I mean second, the first one, it's actually you were 4 people back to back, standing. So it's A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. So A is the first emotion. Then the first pair starts turning. You also do sound and a movement, and it's only the people on this side, if you look at the audience, that you make a sound and a movement. So as soon as you're at your back a bit, then you stop, and it becomes the person in the back that starts making the sound and the movement. So it's first the couple on the left that makes the whole turn with the 2 emotions that are opposite one another. When they have turned completely, the second pair turns completely. Then in the second turn, you try to synchronize, try to feel how is the other pair doing, and do like this. They make only the movement, they make only the sound. So left makes only the movement, right makes only the sound. You turn, when everybody has turned completely, it becomes switched, so sound and movement, and you turn around again. The flock or chorus, both names are being used. So it means you have somebody starts, they have an impulse on the story, can be anything. Some kind of, it shouldn't be a whole scene because it should be pretty repetitive. And all the others join in and try to color that thing. By color, it can be reinforcing, helping it to develop more. And as soon as everybody gathers up, there's a flock. As soon as somebody has a new impulse, you go out of the flock, you give that new impulse, and everybody tries to transform to that new thing. So to color it again. Let it happen a bit. If it's too quick, the impulses, you might lose the flock. And by exception, it might be interesting that 1 person stays or 2 persons stays out of the flock to make some kind of contrast on stage. The song, basically you create a song based on the story you see. Then again, make sure that there's maybe a rhythm there, or that something is more sounds. If it's only words, if it's only phrases that are being sung, it's very hard to keep the balance. We saw as well, we should be very aware here also of the group, of course, because it becomes very loud very quickly. And free impro, there are almost no rules, except, of course, you can always come back to the forms that you know, or some certain elements of the forms to help you and the other players to give a bit more structure, but also because they're just interesting and strong elements that you bring in this repetitive machinery, for example. All right. Any questions?
With the free impro, you can step in and out.
True. With the free impro, once you're in the scene, it doesn't mean you have to stay. You can just go out of the scene, and if you have a new impulse, go in. Otherwise, it becomes very chaotic.
If people have questions, can you repeat the question in your answer? Like now, it was good.
Okay. Any other questions?
The pieces of cloth, do we only use them in free impro, or we can also use them in like fluid sculpture?
You can use them in everything. Yeah. Even the instruments. It's just more easy to use them in free impro. It makes more natural, but you can use them in fluid sculpture, in transformation. Pairs might be a bit more difficult because you have to be aware of the person in the back, but it's even there, it's possible. Yeah.
Transformation, you also start with movement and sound as a still image?
I mean, you start with a still image, and then when you activate, you start with a movement and a sound, yeah.
So
Is
you
it
don't start from like the fluid sculpture is movement and
directly? Yeah. So in the fluid sculpture, you come in, and you start directly doing a movement and a sound. In the transformation, you stand still first, and it seems you are ready for a movement and a sound, then the second and third, everybody stands still, and then you activate if everybody's here. You only activate once everybody's inside the image.